This is the third year it is happening, wherein we are focusing on our area of interest that we need to cooperate together with the country of Singapore as South Africa. We have arrived here. Of course, we came with provincial government leaders from the province of the Free State, where they met with their counterparts, and we also were with the Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Minister Mackenzie, together with his team, where they met with the Singapore Tourism Board, where we reflected in detail how can we benchmark from Singapore with regard to the F1 race. And we believe as South Africa that it's high time that we also need to bring back F1 to South Africa, and already processes are in place, and we are quite certain that that race will go a long way in helping us to grow our GDP and help us to generate revenue out of it. We participated in programs that are focusing on issues of food security, and also we participated in other engagements that can help us to learn a lot from Singapore, because you know they are the hub of artificial intelligence. We have met, of course, with the Tata Group that has shared with us lessons on how we need to utilize AI, of course, to advance our own digital economy. So we were discussing with them on how do they continue to foster unity amongst those diverse groups of their population. And we also shared with them our social cohesion and nation building programs, where as a country we continue to pride ourselves in of being a rainbow nation. And those are the programs that we believe that we ought to work together to make it a point that we bring about unity and social cohesion amongst our country. So we will collaborate with that institution and see to it that we continue to foster issues of religious tolerance and cultural practices amongst our people where we lead. The other issue is that we have also brought our creative industry sector role players, because we ought to strengthen people-to-people relationship with the country of Singapore. How can we do that? We have to make it a point that they learn more about our cultural heritage landscape, and we also learn their strength in terms of that cultural and heritage landscape. We do have cultural practices being tolerated in the country of South Africa, where we coexist with other people of other race and cultural orientation. So we are really pleased with the performances that our creative industry space have done here. We have seen the fashion industry role players also displaying their crafts here in Singapore, and also those who are in the performing arts. They were also performing and showcasing what South Africa can offer to the people of Singapore. These programs will go a long way in strengthening our people-to-people relationship. Last night, we really observed the World Mental Health, because you know the 10th of October, the whole entire world continues to commemorate this day. And we have been at the Character and Leadership Academy together with our Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, where we have witnessed a memorandum of understanding that had been signed by those two institutions, wherein they are going to focus precisely on helping our children and our youth on how to deal with issues of mental health. We are hoping that the implementation of those programs are going to really yield a positive result to our young people on how they need to deal with issues of mental health. And we want to really urge our young people back in South Africa to take up programs that are also driven by the National Youth Development Agency, because they've also been here in Singapore. They do have programs that are going to empower our young people on how to deal with issues of depression, and also when to call for help. Remember, when there are issues of wars and conflicts, who are the people who suffers? It is your constituencies in the form of young people and women who are always negatively affected by those conflicts and those war situations that continues to happen. So the mental well-being of those people in those conflicting countries ought to be given the necessary attention they deserve. And we believe that during the G20 presidency of South Africa, we ought to elevate this issue of mental health, and also how do we deal with the issue of bringing about peace and stability in every situation where conflicts continue to raise their ugly heads. I think we need to join the rest of the global community in welcoming the developments that are taking place now in Gaza, where we continue to see the ceasefire being put in action. We have seen several of the Palestinian people going back to their own country in the north of Gaza. And these are the developments that we believe that are aligned with our foreign policy, because we ought to continue to share with the rest of the world our principles that are guiding our foreign policy, which is the respect for human rights issues, the respect for the rule of law, the respect for democratic processes, and the non-alignment movement that we continue to subscribe to as a country of South Africa. So we are really pleased with the developments in the Middle East, and we want to urge that the key role players that have given us this breakthrough in the Middle East ought to really share those practices with other countries that are still in conflict with each other, so that we bring about peace and stability in the entire globe. And these are the issues that we are quite certain that during our G20 presidency, we are going to elevate them, so that we utilize multilateral forums like the G20 to bring about peace and stability, and also deal with the devastating effect of post-conflict situation, because now Palestine ought to be reconstructed. Gaza ought to be reconstructed. How do we do that? We ought to really work together with the rest of the global community, institutions that are dealing with United Nations Security Council ought to come together also, and other people who are willing to extend a hand to making it a point that they give humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza, so that they can go back to their own stability as a country, and the people of Palestine ought to be supported mentally and otherwise. So we are really pleased and honored with the developments, and we are hopeful that in other areas where there are conflicts, there will be solutions in the near future. And we are hoping that the next edition of the South Africa's Focus Week will help us as a country to continue to increase our trade margins with this country. And I want to take this opportunity really to thank the leadership of our High Commissioner to South Africa, Her Excellency Ms. Charlotte Love, and the rest of the team. And I want to urge other heads of missions that are representing South Africa globally to really look into this kind of initiatives that can help us to advance our interest as a country, and also advance our economic diplomacy as the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. So we are really pleased with the program as it is ending here today. We are here, of course, at the Botanical Garden. Of course, just behind me is a tree that is named after our founding democratic president, President Nelson Mandela. It shows how they continue to value this icon and a global leader of our own country, South Africa. And we are really pleased with the diplomatic relationship that South Africa continues to enjoy with the country of Singapore. And we hope to continue to stand on the footsteps of our founders and see to it that we strengthen those ties, and see to it that we benefit out of them and change the lives of our people for the better.